Hey everybody, I'm making a little stream alert on Twitch Pulse right now. So give me a second. I'm live with episode 121 of the Ask Weldon show. What is the sound I'm hearing? Pause that. There. So call in your questions to anchor.fm/Weldon Green. Post. Okay. I suppose I should post to Twitter too, huh? Just to be nice to Twitter. Un segundo. Apparently I didn't log in. So now I have to log into my Twitter. There's my code. Thank goodness it actually sent. Like my case. It's so American. All right. Doing a quick filming of episode 121 of Ask Weldon. Call in your questions to ps.anchor.fm/Weldon. TV/Mind Games Weldon. Oops. Okay, there we go. Should be good. Hello everybody, how's it going today? Good afternoon, good afternoon. What are my thoughts on Urgot and Kane? I love them both. The idea of phasing through terrain is pretty sick. I thought Bard's Tunnel was impossible when they built it. I was like, how is it even possible that they were able to build a functional tunnel like that? And then they came out with Kane and it was like, oh, you know, easy peasy, no problem. Makes a lot of sense. So yeah, just very, very impressive champion. And as far as Urgot, it feels like he finally does what he should do. I really feel like Urgot should take a lot of inspiration from the, what is the Warcraft 3 or the World of Warcraft instance, the big place, Naxxramas, that appeared above the Plague Lands that you had to go up into. I feel like it should take a lot of inspiration. And I recommend that you kind of like build two patterns into your brain. One pattern with Janna and like gap closing supports that can escape, and another pattern with like, you know, supports that walk in and literally can't get, like Tom Kench style supports that walk in and like they can't get away necessarily once they get tagged by something or when somebody decides to start walking after them. That's what I would recommend. No, you can't get into Diamond with any champion unless you know how the game works. So you know how the game works, and because Janna is easier to play, you were able to focus on the actual game. So, yeah. How goes the good development coach program? Great. I was working on the wiki all day today. Going to be recording a video probably tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. I'm training tutorials for how to do the match feedback videos for that, so that's exciting. Okay, should we dive into some questions here? All right. Wow, I have a lot of notifications on my phone. All right, we got a bunch of call-ins. 2 call-ins. Okay, we have 2 call-ins. Let's listen to the first one. Wait a second. I think there might be feedback because of the microphone on my computer. One sec. Now you can hear me.
Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Great. I think I screwed up my my sound for this this recording, but hopefully it's okay. My bad. Okay. Stop. My phone's ringing. How do I stop it from ringing? Do you like my here. Okay, somebody's calling me. My wife. So I had to be like, I'm streaming, sorry. All right. You guys didn't need to hear that though. Let's jump into the actual question. This is from Thomas Andel. I hope you're ready. Oh yeah, I'm not recording this anyway, am I? How am I going to catch the video for this? I guess what I'll have to do is literally like cut and upload the stream for this episode on YouTube. Sorry everybody. On YouTube.
Hi Weldon. First I wanted to say I'm a big fan of your content, and now I wanted to ask, what do you recommend me to do when I fall into performance slump? It usually lasts for 2 weeks, and there is not really I can't really pinpoint any action that made me start playing worse. And after the 2 weeks, I suddenly start playing well, or at least okay again. And I don't think it's stilled. Maybe a little bit, but I always try to keep focusing on the games and keep being mindful, even though I'm not doing well. So thanks for answering.
Okay, let me add that to the station. All right, Thomas. So basically there's two things we have to be very careful of here. The first is, are you having a performance slump or not? Okay, and although this question might sound kind of silly, the reality is that your ladder ranking is a subjective measure. Remember that a ladder ranking is always a subjective ranking against other people in the game. So it's not an objective ranking of your skill growth or skill decline, okay? It's only a subjective ranking of you being 1/10 of the amount rated against the other 9 people in the game over a series of games. So it's not a good way to measure skill growth, right? So in order to really actually say that you're in a performance slump, we would need to measure all the statistics about your performance skills and the things that you're learning and see whether they're going up or not. So this is actually very hard and borderline impossible to do, which is why we use such easy to measure things as as ranking. But the reality is that a lot of skills do not grow linearly in terms of ranking. Like you might be getting better and better every single day at warding this specific spot or at this specific champion, but you're going to fail at it until you succeed, right? Because you're getting closer to 100%. You're getting closer to a success rate and the skill every time you do it, but until you actually accomplish that skill, you are at a 0% success rate, because it's binary. You either pull it off or you don't, and the getting close doesn't really count in terms of the performance objective of that skill. So there's a lot of things like this in the game that are happening and that are changing in you as you are kind of programming yourself to be better at the game. So my suggestion first is to come up with different measures of progress than ranking or winning, okay? Because winning is a really bad way to measure actual skill growth. And you should basically, the way that you do that is you have a goal and you have a set of skills you want to learn and you have a set of objectives for how you're going to train those skills, and they have measurable outcomes that you can observe through the VOD, or that you can even subjectively observe through the VOD, or you can objectively measure through the VOD and count, and then kind of see whether or not you're improving on a daily basis and reflect on that. And then you might see, oh, I'm actually not in a skill growth slump. I'm in a ranking increase slump as my skills are growing. And that's fine because eventually I'll hit a holistic level of the skill. I'll stop needing to focus on it because it'll be automated. Then I can implement the skill into my larger game plan and focus on other things. And then the ranking will climb. Okay, so that's the first thing that comes to mind when you talk about being in a performance slump is, are you really in a performance slump or are you still learning? Number two is, if you are failing to learn and you are being mindful and you are like focusing on the games and not tilting, then you're probably focusing on the wrong things. You need to find a way of identifying the behaviors that line up with higher performance and the focal points that line up with higher performance. So you need to study your play in comparison with like a model that is better in order to identify differences that are like first principles of the game or that are higher order differences than what you're focusing on. Maybe you're trying to improve an element of the game that isn't going to improve your rank as much. And instead you need to focus on like a bigger problem that you have that will have a larger impact as you gain slightly higher levels of skill in it over time. So those would be my two big recommendations. If you're ever in a slump, by the way, you should always break something. You should either train a lot less and watch a lot more streams and montages, or you should train a lot more and you should watch a lot less content and you should like focus a lot more on your performance. Like try both of those things, but just don't keep doing the same amount of balance of things and hope that you're progressing. That is, of course, if you're actually slumping. Remember, first you have to be clear that you are or are not like currently in a slump of some sort. Okay, I hope that helps, and thanks for calling in the question. Oh, I don't want background music. Okay. How to break out of a performance slump. Boom. All right, guys. Hey, my affair with Pixel. I thought that said Mayfair, like as in the boxing match we're going to be treated to soon. Hope you're having a good night so far. Also, would you say part of the meaning and purpose of life is to understand the physical mechanics of our planet, solar system, and the known universe, all biological processes, the chemistry provided from the birth of our planet used and discovered? No, I think part of the meaning and purpose of life is to understand your meaning and purpose in life. The physical mechanics don't interest me that much because, okay, they interest me greatly. But as a core pursuit of meaning for the human race, I don't think they're necessary. I think that introspection is a mandate, but extrospection is a pursuit, is a beautiful pursuit. Okay. But a lot of people use extrospection, like looking around outside of you. That's probably a word I made up, to kind of pass over mastery of the self. And I think that there is an eternal value in kindness, and there's eternal value in a kind of like statement of the soul towards I haven't really talked much today, and now that big narration for Thomas is like choking my throat up. I think there's a big there's an eternal value in a statement of the soul towards a kind of intent or stance with which you walk through life that is necessary to carry yourself mentally and emotionally. And I think that can only be in a Buddhist kind of way, pursued through introspection. And I don't know if that's a selfless or a selfish introspection. I think ultimately those kinds of selfishness and selflessness are both merging at the top end in a way. But I think that scientifically understanding the universe is something that's value to pursue, but it's not a mandate in order to achieve a meaningful life. How can you improve the team communication within a game? Improve team communication within the game. There's so many different answers to that. I think first I need to diagnose where the team communication is within the game before I can work on improving it. How do you deal with ranked anxiety? Same way you deal with emotional anxiety and ranked pressure and things like that. You learn how to notice when you're anxious and what the roots of that are. You learn to accept the basic level of emotion that comes along with anxiety before you spin it up into higher levels of self-talk and anxiety. You learn to just accept that and let it wash into you. And number 3, you commit your focus and your behaviors to actions that line up with your long-term values and your long-term goals until the ranked anxiety essentially stabilizes at its basal rate and doesn't continue climbing into like a high level anxiety, and then it doesn't distract your focus from the execution of your skills. What's up with SKT losing both matches 0-2? Ramberbot says, I want to be a coach, and because of that, I don't have time to play or practice, so I end up sucking at mechanics and having a low rank. Do you think it will get in the way of my when I start coaching? No, but you might want to get a high rank by coaching yourself first. You might want to coach yourself to a high rank, which is what I did. And it didn't help me get noticed, but it did help me when I started drafting for like Ember and teams like that, that I was a high rank. What books would you recommend me for sports psychology? I already bought The Science of Winning and Losing. I would recommend the books on my mindgames.gg/tools page. Those are pretty much the only books I've read. I mostly read research articles. So I would recommend qualitative research in sport, exercise, and health journal. These journals are really expensive, and unless you go to university, you won't have access to them. So I don't really know if I should recommend them or not, but I'm thinking of putting together a list of journals that I like to read for those of people who are like at university or have access to a university network. Okay, let's do another call-in question, everybody. Wait, the upload failed. Try again. 1 second, everybody. I need to get this upload. Have you also done life coaching at a certain point in time? I hate the word life coaching. If I have done life coaching, it's never been called life coaching by me. Why isn't this uploading? Am I like not close enough to the signal? Just a second. Getting nervous. How long will I stream today? Probably another 15 minutes, actually. Because I need to go back to the G2 house for scrims soon. Why isn't this adding to my station? Yo. Oh, cool. I can call people to interview them. No, why is my upload failing, you guys? I can't add anything else to my station until I get this thing to work. Why do I hate the word life coaching? Because I spent 4 years of my life obtaining a master's in sports sciences, drowning myself in books in the library, consuming hundreds of hours of journal articles, conducting scientific research, with a team, working on groups and running curriculums in schools in order to get a master's of science in sport and exercise psychology, and then logged in a lot of hours in practical training and whatever to get a license. And then people use the word life coach to define me, which is something anybody can call themselves on the internet. Just wake up one morning and put in your Twitter profile that you're a life coach and you're a life coach. How did I start working at G2? I was in Berlin, and I was staying at Airbnbs while I was working at Dojo Madness. And then I realized I'm a very social person, and I was getting super high levels of depressed, just like going home every night to an empty Airbnb and like drowning my sorrows in Netflix. And I was like, I need to coach a team. This is ridiculous. So I contacted Carlos, and I was like, please, will you hire me and let me stay at the gaming house and coach scrims in the evening and give me some food and board, and I'll charge you very little money compared to my normal rate, and then I can work a few days a month at G2 and not have to stay in an Airbnb. And he was like, let me talk to the players. And then he talked to the players, and the players were like, let's give him a chance, for which I'm eternally grateful. And I don't know if the chance is working out for them. I hope that they appreciate what I bring to the team, which is not my 100% full focus that I brought with TSM, but it's like everything else that I have. And hopefully it's working out for them. It's working out for me, because Wait, I'm not recording right now. That's lame. All right, guys. So the thing that I uploaded, I believe, did not record. So I'm wondering, should I just, maybe what I'll do is I'll delete, Thomas, I'll delete your performance slump thing. Shoot. Then I won't have the question. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Thomas, thanks for the question. I answered it and it didn't upload properly. So I have a recording of it and I'm going to add it to the station later. And I'll let you guys know before I answer his question. For now, I'm going to move on to the next question and we'll get back to you in a bit. Interruption. Add to station. Hey, Weldon, do you plan on visiting Finnish Assembly LAN? That would be cool. That would be pretty cool. I get really tilted when playing out losing games in solo queue. I've started watching VOD streams to distract myself in the game. Should I stop this? If so, how? Daniel, there's this app here called Anchor, and you can call in your question on the Anchor app, and then I will answer it on the show. See? And you can upvote my station while you're at it and give me some big claps and get me up into the top 15 on Anchor, which would be awesome. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Hey, Weldon. This isn't necessarily a question, but I mean...
Whoa, I dropped my phone.
Hey, Weldon. This isn't necessarily a question, but I mean, I hope you might post it on your show. I just want to kind of like give a little message to like everybody out there. You know, I've struggled with discipline, motivation, blah 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 for a while, and I actually lost my drive that I used to have for a long time. But something in me told me that I could always, you know, if I had that drive somehow when I was younger, I could always train it back. And, you know, it's been a little bit over a year and a half since I had that same drive, and just a few days ago, I got it back. And it didn't just come back randomly. I think it definitely was added up from everything that I was trying to do. Because I knew if I could do it, you know, subconsciously, if I could have that without, you know, actually trying to, if I could practice the passion, I could practice feeling like that. So always remember that, guys.
A nice uplifting message for y'all from Rocky, one of my longtime fans from like back in the OG days. Hey, Rocky, thanks so much for the uplifting and motivational message. And I remember some of our early calls from maybe 2014 was when we first Skyped. And I was really impressed with your drive then and with the steps that you were taking to kind of make it a more permanent change. I think that in a similar way to getting started with racket sports or football or, you know, running sports, like really early in life, when you build up those basic reflexes that you still have an edge on in your 30s compared to other people, I think that mental processes and motivation and drive and how to execute on discipline are similar. If you, the time that you spend journaling and reflecting and learning reflexive thinking and meditating and studying your own decision making pile up throughout your whole life. And not only do they help you recapture like identical drive later towards something that is specific that you were working on, but they also are transferable skills. They help you kind of rewire into a new dream or a new passion as you pivot on things that you actually like. And so I think it's fantastic that you have discovered drive around something again, whatever that something is, and that you're able to execute on your wishes. Kudos to you and keep it up. Keep in touch. Okay, let's see if this adds to my station. If it doesn't, I'm going to cry because I'm going to have to re-record the entire show and just stop adding stuff to my station. Oh, Anchor has this problem where you can't like rearrange clips. So if I can't get the clips interwoven with the call-ins on my Wi-Fi here, then I don't really know what to do. I can't leech internet from my computer to my phone. I can only leech phone from my internet from my phone to my computer. So upload failed. Try again. Hey guys. This is lame. Let me see if I switch Wi-Fis. Maybe that'll help. No, I erased the password. I'm joining the other Wi-Fi network, and it's the wrong password. What's going on? Okay. I really just think that I don't have enough internet down here. I might have to pause the stream for a few seconds and walk down and get an internet password because I can't really keep like not upgrading my oh, hey, there's a guest network. Oh, I gotta enter a password. Gah. All right, hang on. I'll be right back, everybody. How do I work with G2? I mean, how is a day working with G2? It's pretty awesome. I'll tell you in a sec. And Team Liquid Wheldon, yeah. I'll do it. I will. I will literally win the NALCS with Team Liquid. If you want me to. If they offer. I think it's working, guys. Let's see. If not, I'm like, I'm kind of confused about what I should do, actually. It's not connecting yet. Let's answer some questions in the meanwhile. How do I work with G2? I mean, how is a day working for G2? So a day working for G2 is like, I get off of Dojo, kind of quit what I'm doing here around 4 or 5 p.m., meander over to the team house, and then I usually have a one-on-one or a meeting with one of the players or something in the afternoon in between the scrims. And then I have 3 scrims with them in the evening scrim block. And I give feedback on, stuff that's happening in the game, communication, kind of principles, game principles, team fight, communication, etc. Where they aren't listening to each other, leadership at certain moments, proactivity or inactivity, error, applying pressure, momentum, things like that. And then scrims are over. We have feedback in between each game. Scrims end. Sometimes I meet with Joey and Chris, talk about stuff. And then when I'm in Finland, usually try to call the team before the first scrim block now and do mindfulness. And then we did gratefulness conditioning the first half of the split. This is really not working. This is kind of weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record the answers back into this app later. And I'll worry about adding this stuff to my station at a later point. So for now, I'll just play them. Oh, you know what? Maybe if I just restart my phone, that'll help too. So I'm going to be answering questions from chat until my phone restarts. Team Liquid Wheldon, please, says Jonathan. Yes, it is possible. 100% possible. Once I get an offer from Team Liquid, that they will bring me to North America for a season or something like that. Problem is, I enjoyed G2 too much, and I believe in Carlos and the culture of his org a bit more than I do Steve. Steve's awesome, but it's hard to replicate the insanity of a player owner, because they were like, okay, Steve was actually a player too, come to think of it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they both have their different stylistic cultures. They both have their different cultures. G2's is just special. OMG, I just joined LOL game and didn't get to save my masteries. It's a ranked flex game, but I kind of tried to stay cool and play for my team. I hope you won. Is there a simple way to get over tilt, or is it a long process? Okay. Getting over tilt, Hockey for Life, is super simple, but incredibly not easy. Okay, it is literally the simplest and fastest thing ever. Okay, are you ready? You just choose to not be tilted. Instantaneously. You are instantly not tilted. The problem is, for some people, actually for most people, and depending on the context, this is literally the hardest choice on earth to make, because we feel so tilted that we have things like that we want to express to inflict our pain onto other people. Okay? But you can quite simply choose not to do that. And that is the act of mental resilience and mindfulness, and then acceptance, and then commitment. So training yourself to be strong enough to choose not to be tilted by every stimuli in the world. So it might be easy to, no, you don't lie to yourself. Absolutely not. Lying to yourself is when you like avoid the emotion of tilt. You like see the emotion inside you. You're like, I'm not listening to you. La, 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 I'm not tilted. Actually getting over tilt is you feel the emotion of frustration or pain that you have from the other person, or anger you have towards yourself, or jealousy, or whatever kind of basal emotion is triggering in you. You accept it. You let it just writhe around inside you. And then outside, you control your controllables, which are your focus and concentration. You can always choose what you focus on, no matter what. You might not be strong enough to force your focus to a certain point, but that just means you are weak at choosing where your focus is put consciously. And then you control your actions, which is like nobody is forcing you to type in the keyboard like get cancer and die to your teammate. You can just choose not to do it and say like, it's okay, dude, we got this next time. Don't worry. Like, I know that you are yelling obscenities and racial slurs at me, but like, I believe that you're a good person and that we can win this game. You know, that's a choice. These are choices. And so, yes, tilt is the simplest thing ever, and it's also the most difficult thing on earth. You literally have Buddhist monks going into caves for 15 years to try to improve themselves as people so that they can, you know, be nice to people who are hard to be nice to. That is how hard and easy it is at the same time. F Skater says, I'm a senior in college and would maybe one day like to have a career in the league scene. Do you think they will be around long enough? Maybe, but eSports will. So I would say work on principles that are specific to the field and not specific to League of Legends, right? So work on principles of like analytics and data representation and sabermetrics, like sports analysis, and coaching as in behavior change and physical processes in the body, and then constantly apply those to League of Legends and think about that and write about it and explore it. And then as soon as like the zeitgeist or flavor of the moment changes or your interest changes to the next game, you simply start applying them to the next game. And everything you learned while applying all of those principles of League of Legends carries over in your application of those principles to the next game. And as long as you study two things, which is the fundamental principles of behavior change, of mathematics and analytics and analysis, critical thinking, forecasting, read the book Super Forecasting, for example. And then you study the second thing, which is the application of those to real life scenarios and the creation of drills and trainings, which is the art, or representations, which is the communication aspect of analysis. As long as you work on those, then you'll develop the concrete skill set and the understanding of the fundamental principles. And then it doesn't really matter what's happening when you graduate college. You can just do what you want. Appreciate the answer. Loved having you on TSM. Good luck with you too. Thanks. Solid771 says, hi, how do you accept you won't get better? I've got to platinum in my second year, but 4 years later, I'm still platinum. You are unlikely to get out of platinum if you don't accept. Solid. You are unlikely to ever get out of platinum if you accept that you are platinum and that you won't get better. Like, I am platinum, that is me, and I will never get better. Likewise, you are unlikely to get out of platinum if you believe that you are actually like being held back by the system or by your learning or something like that. So you have to simultaneously hold two things in your head at the same time. Solid, I want you to firmly believe 100% that like the skills that you have in your body and the skill level that you are is platinum. And you know that is reality and fact because the game is evaluating you against other humans consistently and saying that you are currently ranked as platinum. That's the level that your skills are at. And I also want you to believe internally that essentially you are a challenger, that you could be, that with the right training and focus and amount of hours put into the game, that you could climb to challenger. And if you hold those two things in your mind at the same time and you work on your learning and the systems of improvement that you can build around yourself and constantly experimenting with how to train and how to train better and getting coaching and getting information and critique, that you will then rise to the level at which you desire to aim at. And you might not get to challenger. You might actually not ever get out of platinum, but you'll have a lot more fun and you'll get a lot better as a person and as a learner, and those things will carry over to the next thing that you're doing as well. If you kind of like try to live with those two conflicting ideas in your head at the same time, pulling in different directions, if that makes sense. Martis says, hi, I am a perfectionist, which leads me to getting upset over every mistake I make. Any strategies to avoid getting mad at myself for doing small mistakes? You should get mad at yourself, but you should forgive yourself at the same time. Getting mad at yourself is the advantage that perfectionists have. Okay, perfectionism is both an advantage and a disadvantage. It's a double-edged sword. A lot of high-performance athletes are perfectionists, but they're held back by their perfectionism at the top end. So you need to allow yourself to get angry for doing small mistakes because perfectionism is beautiful in that way. But you have to learn the skill. I say skill because you get better at it with practice, okay? And learn because you have to practice it. You have to learn the skill of forgiving yourself for being who you are at the level that you're at. So you have to say like, oh, I'm mad at myself for making that mistake, and I forgive myself for being at the level that I am at right now. It's fine. And you would do that by accepting the consequences of your motivation and training. So if the consequences of your motivation are like, I really want to be a higher rank and I'm perfectionistic, so I hate myself for the mistakes I'm making, but I don't actually get up early and go to the gym. I don't actually eat healthy. I don't actually watch 3 VODs, of solo queue monsters beforehand and take notes of the things I want to play. I don't actually VOD review my games for 20 minutes after I play them and make notes of the things that I messed up. I don't actually set reminders for myself and set goals for myself for when I want to do the game. I don't actually talk to my teammates and try to come up with strategy, even though it's hard every single game to get them to rally around me. So you say like, I don't do those things, so therefore I forgive myself for my current level because I'm actually not motivated to really improve, even though my perfectionism is forcing me to like be angry at myself for those mistakes. If you can do both of those things, then your perfectionism stops having any sort of like power over getting you upset, because you're mad at yourself, but then you forgive yourself for your level of motivation towards the game because you're like, I have other hobbies. Like I just really want to be a better guitar player. I just have more fun doing it. Or I just like playing this game for fun. Like straight up, it's way more fun just to play it for fun. And yes, I'm going to get mad at myself for these mistakes and that'll make me slightly better, but I'm not going to get upset over it because my actions are dictated by my level of motivation. Therefore, this is the level of motivation I have, and these are the actions I'm willing to take and the sacrifices I'm willing to make, and that's the end of it. And so this is the level I'm at, and there we go. Now I'm happy because this is the choice that I'm making, because I have other things I want to do, like watch YouTube videos, which is great. I have an ambition. I really want it, but I watch a YouTube video instead. So, okay, then I have fun instead of achieving my goal, but that's not like the end of the world, right? Because what is your purpose in life? Okay. XAB200 says, I'm currently studying industry technology in high school, and I'm very sure this is not the future career I want to work with. I want to open my own business, but I have no idea in what kind of subject I want to work in. Do you have any tips on how to experiment to find something I enjoy working with? That's a long question. You should put it on my radio channel, which I'm about to go back to now that my phone is finished restarting. I'm rereading your question, Zab, but in my head. Solid. Yes, you should delete one of your accounts and only play one account ever and accept the performance on that account as who you are. If you have a bad game, it's not a bad game. It's actually just your game. You're on a swing, right? Your skill level average in the game is a combination of all of your good games and bad games, above average and below average. That makes the middle, the median, right? So if you have a low game, that's just part of the realm of possibility of your skill level. If you want to not have that game, you have to be good enough not to have it. So I recommend you completely eliminate any accounts at all. You play one single account and you accept every single time you log in that the reality of your performance in this game is the reality of your skill level, period. But it doesn't define you. It is not you. You inside is like challenger. If you dedicate it correctly, if you figure out the system, if you hack yourself, if you hack this, then you achieve that over time. It's your long game. It's your long plan, okay? So you have to accept both realities. And then you'll be happy and satisfied, and the stress of having a single account and logging into ranked won't happen, and eventually you'll log into ranked so many times on your account that you won't even think about it anymore. And you won't want to play any Smurfs. Okay. So, should I try to play back the sound of these questions? Oh, I can't because I don't have the stream. All right, I'm just going to like keep going through these questions here. Optimal working game balance. Here we go, everybody. Oops.
Hey, Weldon. So my question for you today is, what, in your opinion, is a good work gaming balance? So I am currently 20 years old. I have a job that runs from 8 until 4. And when I come home, I want to game, but I've also got to fit in all these things that include, eating, exercising. And as I'm, 20, I'm not quite 25 or 27, what is, the recommended amount of sleep I should get, but still be able to, progress in playing games and working my way up to a good level to be able to possibly compete professionally. Anyway, thanks very much, and hope you answer this question.
Okay, Andy. So I had one question or one kind of like answer going through my mind until you said to maybe compete professionally. So there's two different answers to that question. The first one is the amount that you should play if you're pursuing mastery, which is that you should balance it with everything else that like has a lean on your life that is about optimization or like improving yourself as a person. But if your goal is, I want to play professionally, that is an ambition I have, and I need to get there, then you probably need to put in 6 hours, to be honest, 4 to 6 hours a day, because like your competitors are going to be doing that too. So I think it's probably possible to get to master's level on 2 games a day. So like about 2 to 3 hours of study and play. But I think that to get to challenger level, you're going to need to do like probably a minimum of 4 hours a day of study and play. And maybe some of that you can offload into your breaks at work, where you're studying and coming up with lists for your game, and then you kick that off right when you get back. So you as far as blocked time in the evening, you're only doing 3.5 because you're fitting in like 15 minutes of studying, and you're thinking about the game, and maybe you have your VOD review with you on your phone, so you can like kind of watch your VODs during the day. Maybe a downtime at work or something, you recapture some of that lost time, so then you limit your block time in the evening. Or maybe you go to the gym and you're running on the treadmill and you like watch your VOD or something, or you watch a stream. So maybe you can overlay something that's like passive fitness with study or something. It's not like purely optimal, but it's totally fine. And yeah, the problem is that, okay, so what I would do is think about it in terms of cycles too. If you actually plateau and you really can't get anywhere, then maybe you should take a Thanksgiving break or something like that and just like go all in, like 10-hour, 12-hour days, try to break through some plateaus and really get into the system and come at it in a really like all-in manner with a lot of like preparation on the day, like not weeks beforehand, but just like on the day you wake up, like, like really get at it, really go into the game with goals, really try to achieve them and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go pro, you need to get challenger, and that's basically that. So you need to train as much as possible to hit challenger, but I don't think you can do it with less than 4 hours a day unless you were gifted by your parents with incredible parenting when you were growing up. Thanks for the question. That was fantastic. And I didn't record it or put it on my show. Freaking A. All right. Next question.
Hey, Weldon. So I am a student and currently looking for a job, but I have limited time to play League. So is ranked an okay game mode to practice a new lane, new champ, or new role, or should you be more proficient in that before taking it to ranked? Thank you.
I love this question because the opinion of the people who are in ranked is get the heck out of my ranked game. And my opinion is, what is non-ranked play? I only perform well on stage. So I believe that you should not care. So if you do care, okay. So Trevor, there's 2 answers to this. The number one answer is I want to learn the number one part of the question is how do I say this? Okay, there's 2 ways to answer this depending on your point of view. So first of all, do you care more about learning the champion quickly, or do you care more about learning the champion funly, like entertainment-wise? So if the answer is, I want to learn the champion to a deep level very swiftly, then you want pressure. You want pressure to perform, because you want to feel more pain when you make a mistake. Pain is the teacher, okay? Pain is the thing that makes you remember forever the mistake. Okay, I want you to imagine these 2 scenarios. You're in Spanish class, and you're reading a sentence out of a textbook, and you're whispering it out loud to yourself, and you pronounce something wrong in kind of a silly way, and nobody hears it, and nobody laughs, and nobody says anything, and you just go on. And after about an hour, you forget that moment ever existed in your life, ever. It's just gone forever. You never remember it again. And maybe the next day you're reading and you mispronounce the same word. You don't even notice it. situation too. You're standing in front of the class, you're doing a presentation, you mispronounce the word, you're kind of like sweating and nervous about it. The entire class starts laughing and pointing at you and giggling because you said some funny word that doesn't mean anything or means something like dirty or whatever, and the teacher's like snickering in the corner and you turn red, and like 10 years later, you like wake up in a cold sweat from a dream remembering that situation forever, all eternity. It's like burned into your brain like a circuit that was fried. And you never forget the pronunciation of that word for as long as you live. That is learning in a nutshell. It happens due to chemicals helping you rewire your neurons. These chemicals that rewire your neurons respond to stress, to be quite blunt. And so if you put yourself in a performance situation and pressure situation, you can accelerate your learning by your brain caring and giving a crap about you making a mistake. Okay, this idea of like a safe learning space is great for exploration and focus and like, layering up of skills. But if you just want harsh teaching reality, go throw yourself into an immersive language situation where you're negotiating for hostages and see how much language your brain learns in an hour. It'll be more than in a safe, cultured learning space of a language classroom. And also a bunch of people might die because you do the negotiations badly, but I'm talking about learning here. So essentially, I would say I always just play ranked. I literally don't play any other game mode. Okay. And I don't see any pros that play any other game mode either, because pros are on a time schedule. When a new champion comes out, they need to learn it at the top level immediately. They log into ranked and they study the champion, and then they feel the pain of every mistake that they make as they're dragging their team down into the abyss. And they never want to make that. They never want to feel that feeling again. And so their brain learns not to make that mistake again because it doesn't want to feel that pain again. And it's existential pain, it's emotional pain, but that is very real to us humans and to our bodies. So if the answer is learning and learning speed and learning depth, then ranked. If the answer is you want to relax and have fun and explore without consequence and let your creative energies flow, then you want to find your pursuit of mastery within a non-pressure situation of the non-ranked system of the game, whatever it's called nowadays. I forget, like just queue, normal queue, that's what it is. So then you can like release the creative energies of like exploration and like kind of like the weird painting where you paint by flinging the paint on the wall and like rubbing it around, and like it's okay because you have enough money to afford a couple canvases and it's not a big deal if you waste one. That's the answer. I hope it's helpful, and good luck learning Kane. I assume that was what this question was about. Okay, guys, I gotta head back. I have no more questions in the radio station. Thanks for those of you who called in, and I have to head back to the team house for the second set of scrims. And I will see you next time after I get through the questions in the Twitch chat. Hey, Weldon, love listening to the words that come out of your brain. They do come out of my brain. Martis, by the way, I'm glad that was helpful. I hope that you are inspired in some way that is practical. Zab, I still think you should ask this question on my radio show. I will get to it in the next episode, and it's really awesome, and I want to talk about it at length. And I want to put it on my podcast, which is why it should be on the radio station. Hey, Weldon, love listening to the words that come out of your brain. On one episode, you were talking about tea and caffeine, and you mentioned a difference. You said tea actually had a depressant neurotransmitter that helps to curb caffeine jitters. How's L-theanine? L-theanine. L-thea, Thea, 9, N-I-N-E. And it's a calming. And it's not a neurotransmitter. It is a chemical compound. Do you try to operate in flow state as often as you can? I try to operate in a mimicry of flow state as often as I can. Mindfulness, baby. Will you ever come back to TSM? Of course. Never mind. Let's not get into it now. Dan's League, 2 days a day, 4 to 6 hours a day for how long? 2 hours a day, 4 to 6 hours a day for how long? What is this in reference to? Does he have a question up here somewhere? Okay, I don't see it. Lukey the Pro. I'm 17 years old and want to go pro in league. How can I improve in league with the might runs out without getting too much pressure from the time I have left or the missing improvement increase? Good question for the radio show, Lukey. You should put it on my app. And I will answer it on episode 122 tomorrow in the morning when I record it. Because this question that you asked is a fantastic question, and I have a really good answer for it. Yeah, I think I could hit master in 2 hours a day. I think most people could at a certain age, a certain maturity level, if they play long enough. But I don't think it's possible quite to hit challenger without a little bit more focus. Maybe if you already are challenger level and you're getting back to it, you could easily do it in 2 hours a day. But okay, guys. Anchor.fm/Weldon Green. Look at the URL above my head. Anchor.fm/Weldon Green. I think to submit a call-in question, you have to have the app and then you swipe up on my station and you could call in. You submitted a radio question? To Weldon-Green? What was the question? Oh, wait, maybe my internet isn't working right now. Let me check and see if it's refreshing elsewhere. Loading. Okay, my internet is working. You know, I think Anchor might be like FooBard right now. I don't know. Because it's not uploading my recordings either. That's why I wasn't recording anything. Maybe you didn't finish submitting it. Like, you have to click upload and then wait and stuff like that. So try it again, real mute. I'm so sorry. Solid 771. The name of the app is Anchor, ANCHOR. If you just go to anchor.fm/Weldon Green, there's probably links plastered all over the freaking webpage. Like, download my app, download my app. You know how apps are. Solid. It seems silly to me to think that you're too old to improve when you literally have 4 years before you even hit the physical peak of the male body. So that's just an excuse. Power ISO, please submit that question to my Anchor station. But the answer is that I need to know more context about you. So I need to know, hey, come in. Come in. Come in. Oh. Hey, I'm streaming.
Oh, cool. I'll let you be in. Sorry.
That was Sam? They want to see you, Sam.
Oh.
This is the camera. Sam plays World of Tanks.
I do. It's a shit game.
What? Sam plays PUBG, actually. He has quit World of Tanks, and now he's playing the real warfare simulator of...
PUBG?
No, but can you get tanks in it?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, eventually PUBG will buy World of Tanks when they're the biggest game in the world, and then they will just implement tanks into PUBG.
Then they'll have an FV215B, my favorite tank.
Yeah, problem solved.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to invite you to dinner, but you're streaming.
Yeah, sorry.
All good. Enjoy your stream.
Thanks.
Love it, people. See you.
All right. I want to be an eSports psychologist. I need context. I need to know if you're in high school or in college or not. Generally, if you want to be a sports psychologist or a sports psychology trainer, you need 6 years of schooling, 4 years undergrad, 2 years master's. So just go study sports sciences or psychology and then get a master's in, Matt just called into my station. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Weldon. All right, we're going to be retrying. This is Real Mute. I submitted my question about 15 minutes ago. So my question pertains to duo queuing, basically. I play Overwatch with my girlfriend on a consistent basis with the goal of getting better and ranking up in mind. And so far, I have been on a more accelerated curve, I'd say, of improvement than she has. And I was wondering what sort of behaviors that I can adopt in this duo setting where we're constantly playing together
to encourage her growth and see her reach the goals that she has set?
Okay, so this is a really loaded question and it has a lot of complexity. The first one is, what are her goals? And are the goals that she states out loud truly the goals that she aspires to? Because I have been contacted by many people who have goals around games. And to be perfectly honest, some of them are esporters, some of them are competitors, some of them are pursuers of mastery, some of them are pursuers of social experience, some of those are pursuers of entertainment. And a lot of the goals that are stated on the outside are irrelevant to the reason that the person is playing in the first place. Okay? So you need to be willing and ready to accept, and she needs to be willing to ready to accept everybody's actual, really transparent goals in the situation. Those have nothing to do with whether or not you're duo queuing together or trying to improve. I played with my wife when her goal was to spend time with me and my goal was to improve. And neither of us were inhibited in our goals as long as they were clear. So make sure that the actions you take and the introspection that you have with her is really laid bare and like open and honest and vulnerable for both of you. And then you can come to the table with like a unified set of understandings of what each person wants out of a certain game that is being played. Okay. And if the answer is she truly is like pursuing mastery, then you can help her with mastery type behaviors, such as you guys can study together and reflect on the game together and go to breakfast and talk about like interactions and like visualizing the game. And these things will be interesting to her because her goal is mastery. And these are mastery type behaviors. If the goal is like competitive domination, then you can, work on certain plays or certain moments, and you can relive those glory moments, and you can study people who dominate in a competitive way and who get kill streaks, and you can work on like culturing those kinds of pursuits and kind of like have those kinds of conversations at meal times, whatever, and find the motivation to then drive that into behaviors such as VOD review or watching models of people who play the game using your champion in a specific way that is higher level than yours, to pull apart ways of. The source is motivation, right? The source of those behaviors is motivation. So first comes the motivation, then comes the behaviors. And then if the intention or the reason for playing the game is social outreach or social like fulfillment, then that is what you want to discuss at meal times and when you're like doing other things and when you're like playing the game, that you have these kinds of ideals. And then when you're studying the game together, there's two different like ambitions in mind, right? In terms of like the intentions behind watching the VOD together or whatnot. So you have to keep in mind like her desires and your desires out of the experience, and those need to be really kind of like explored on an ongoing basis because they can literally change one day to the next. You have to be willing to admit that some days you just like aren't in it, and some days she's going to be willing to be like, actually, I'm super try hard now, or actually, I'm just not feeling it this week. And that is the answer. I hope that it was helpful. I feel like I didn't get too much into the tactics of what those behaviors of mastery are, but to be honest, it's quite simple. You just need a model and a mirror. So you need to see things that you need to do and pull out things that you aren't doing, and then you need to look at a mirror of your play and see what you're doing and recognize the fallacies in what you perceive that you're doing versus what you're actually doing, and then you need to focus on those elements in the game and attempt to improve on them by calling each other out and bringing reminders to each other's of each other's goals to the table. So you can really do that in duo queue. You can remind each other what each other's goals are in the game before the mistakes are made, not after. Before the mistakes are made, so they can be intentionally worked on. Lukey the Pro, you add your question by swiping up on my station. Or there's a call in to the station button at the bottom. My station is Weldon Green, WELDON GREN. Power ISO 13. I'm studying psychology at university right now, and want to study master's of sports psychology in the future. Okay, so you're answering your own question. Oh, eSports psychology. Right, you want to be eSports psychology. Well, just start writing blogs and making videos, applying all the concepts you're learning to eSport. Create content around eSport, the application of everything you're learning to eSport for the next 3 years. So the rest of your university studies and then your 2 years in your master's degree, creating all the content and interacting with Twitter and on Instagram and on Reddit with all of the people who kind of need these content, like write articles on Reddit, link your videos on Twitter to topics that are relevant to you, and build up that kind of like capital, that social equity, until people come to you with work because of your expertise that you have demonstrated. And I really have to run now, guys. I don't want to be late. So thank you so much for the stream, and I appreciate all of the amazing questions. And Lukey the Pro, make sure if you can't get your question on my Anchor account, make sure that you hit notifications on my stream, like the little heart up there, and say show notifications, so you see tomorrow when I go live, and you can jump on and ask the question and chat again. Okay? Thanks.